Look at the people around you. Look at people from anywhere on Earth. Human skin comes in every shade imaginable: deep brown, reddish copper, golden tan, pale pink. It is the very first thing we notice about another person, often before we notice anything else. And for most of human history, people have built entire ideas about each other based on nothing more than this: the color of a thin outer layer of skin. But here is something strange. Every single human being alive is more than 99.9% genetically identical to every other human. You and a stranger on the other side of the planet share almost your entire genetic code. Skin color is one of the smallest differences between any two people, a tiny surface detail. So the real question is not why are people different colors? The question is, why does skin color exist at all? And the answer is one of the most beautiful pieces of evolution on the planet. It is a story written by the sun. First, you have to understand what skin color even is. Your color comes from a pigment called melanin. It is made by special cells in your skin called melanocytes. And here is the surprising part. Nearly every human being has roughly the same number of these cells. A person with the darkest skin and a person with the palest skin have almost the same amount of melanocytes. The only difference is how much melanin those cells produce. So it is not different machinery. It is the same machinery turned up or turned down. Skin color is basically a single dial, and evolution spent the last couple million years carefully adjusting that dial. The question is, what was it adjusting it for? To answer that, we have to go back to the very beginning. Our earliest ancestors were covered in fur, and underneath that fur, their skin was probably pale, just like a chimpanzee today has pale skin under its hair. But then something changed. Our ancestors lost their fur. They became the sweatiest animals on the planet so they could stay cool while walking and running for hours under the African sun. And suddenly bare human skin was exposed directly to one of the most intense sources of ultraviolet radiation on Earth, the equatorial sun. And that sun is not gentle, it is dangerous. Most people assume the danger of the sun is skin cancer, and UV radiation does cause skin cancer. But skin cancer usually strikes later in life, after people have already had children. So, in evolutionary terms, it is not a strong enough force to shape an entire species. The real danger is something almost nobody knows about. Intense UV radiation destroys a nutrient in your body called folate. Folate is essential. It is what builds a healthy baby in the womb. Without enough folate, pregnancies fail. Babies are born with severe defects. Folate is also critical for fertility in men. So a person living under the harsh equatorial sun with pale skin would lose their folate to the sunlight and struggle to have healthy children. And evolution cares about exactly one thing: healthy children. So dark skin was the solution. Melanin is a natural sunscreen. It absorbs and blocks UV radiation before it can destroy your folate. The more melanin you have, the more protected you are. This is why every population of humans that evolved near the equator, in Africa, in South Asia, in Australia, independently developed dark skin, not because they were related, but because they all lived under the same powerful sun. Dark skin near the equator was the original human color. And for most of human history, every person on Earth had it. So if dark skin is so protective, why isn't everyone dark-skinned? Why do pale people exist at all? This is where the story gets interesting, because around 60 to 70,000 years ago, humans began to leave Africa. They walked north, into Europe, into Asia, into colder lands far from the equator. And as they moved north, the sun got weaker and weaker. And here is the twist. We do not just need protection from the sun, we also need the sun. Your skin uses ultraviolet light to manufacture vitamin D. And vitamin D is not optional. It builds your bones. It powers your immune system. Without it, children develop rickets, their bones bend and break, their pelvises deform, which makes childbirth deadly. And in the weak northern sun, dark skin became a problem. All that melanin that protected folate near the equator was now blocking the small amount of sunlight people needed to make vitamin D. People with dark skin in the far north simply could not make enough. So in those low sunlight regions, evolution began turning the dial the other way. Lighter skin let more of the scarce UV light through, enough to make vitamin D. The further from the equator people lived, the lighter their skin tended to become. Not because lighter is better, but because it let in just enough sun to survive. So this is the secret. Human skin color is a balancing act. a compromise between two opposing forces. Near the equator, you need dark skin to protect your folate from too much sun. Far from the equator, you need lighter skin to capture enough sun to make vitamin D. Every shade of human skin is simply a setting on that dial, tuned over thousands of years to match exactly how much sunlight a person's ancestors lived under. Skin color is not a marker of who people are. It is a map of where their ancestors lived, a record of the sun. And the discoveries only get stranger from here. Light skin did not evolve just once. It evolved separately in different parts of the world. The pale skin of Europeans and the pale skin of East Asians come from different genetic mutations, two different solutions to the same problem of weak northern sun. Evolution solved it twice, in completely different ways. And here is the fact that surprises people the most. Light skin in Europe is shockingly recent. For a long time, people imagined ancient Europeans as pale. But studies of ancient DNA suggest that many Europeans had much darker skin until surprisingly recently. The genes for very pale European skin may only have spread widely within roughly the last 10,000 years. Some of the first farmers and hunter-gatherers in Europe likely had dark brown skin and pale eyes. The image most people carry of the deep human past is simply wrong. For the overwhelming majority of human history, every human on Earth was brown-skinned. Which brings us to the most important point of all. Skin color does not divide humans into neat groups. It does not line up with the categories people invented. It changes gradually as you move across the planet. A smooth gradient that follows the strength of the sun. People living in the same sunlight on opposite sides of the world, with no close relation to each other, often have nearly the same skin color, because they faced the same problem. Meanwhile, two people with very different skin colors can be far more genetically similar than they look. Skin color is just the outermost layer, a few millimeters deep. It tells you how much sun someone's ancestors lived under, and almost nothing else. So why do humans come in different colors? Because we spread across an entire planet, from the blazing equator to the dim far north. And everywhere we went, the sun set the dial. Dark enough to protect the next generation, light enough to survive the winter. Every shade is a solution to the same ancient problem: how to live under whatever sun you were born beneath. It is the most visible difference between us, and it is one of the most superficial. Underneath that thin layer of color, we are very nearly the same, and science is still uncovering exactly when and how each shade of humanity came to be. The story of human color is not finished being written.